Hi, this is Ariel. I am here to walk you through how to use Present Tense's simple budget template. The simple budget template is a form that we put together when we realized that we simply couldn't find a good downloadable template to use to develop a budget for a startup venture in its early stages. And this is what we did. It might not be the easiest thing, but at least it's very helpful in terms of thinking through what you need to put together a budget. And we made it live online and also downloadable as an Excel file. The first sheet is the introduction. You can erase that sheet when you're ready, or you just go into notifications and you delete this sheet. What it is just a little bit of instructions of what I'm going to be providing you here on this video. The way that we thought about this budget is very simple. So in the end, you want to get here. You want to get to your balance sheet. And getting to the balance sheet where you have revenue at the top and then you have expenses at the bottom and finally, of course, your bottom line, your total profit and loss is the goal. Unfortunately, you're going to need to take a number of steps to get to that goal. Now, one of the steps that most people start off with are by developing your operations plan. That is, to think what you're going to be doing month by month. The thing is that each one of your line items in your operations plan wants to be very, very clear and crisp. So not cookies, cake, apple juice, orange juice, but rather food. And that's called a line item, when you group everything together into one thing, right? And there are two types of line items. There are revenue line items and expenses line items, because cookies, cake, orange juice, and what have you can be all under line item 3, where donations from local supermarkets can all be line item A, right? Line item A and line item 3 will equal each other if all of your food products are donated. That is, you want to count the cash value of that donation, but you want to account for them differently, because you don't need to express how every cake was donated by one supermarket or another, right? So how do you get here? Well, for that we built this worksheet. And the worksheet, on the face of it, might look a little complicated, but when you get down into it, it's actually pretty simple. What we did is we created something called event, program, phase, what have you, right? So the idea is that you come to develop your budget already with a work plan. And your work plan, of course, is built into different phases. According to work breakdown structure, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And under 1, you have your goal of 1, you have your activities, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. And under those activities, you have your tasks, 1.1.1, 1.1.2, 1.1.3, or 1.2.1, 1.2.2, and so on and so forth, right? So with each one of those, your tasks, you have your inputs. And your inputs could also be inputs in terms of ticket sales and so on, or expenses such as your food and drink. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the example of a very simple project. That is the project of creating lessons for neighborhood children to learn about Jewish history through acting, through performances. And what we're going to do is we're going to estimate that part of the way that people are going to be investing in this or enabling this project to occur is by having ticket sales. So we're going to call all line item A ticket sales. And ticket sales happen in each one of the months in which you're running one of these plays. So in the first month, in the first event, we're going to be calling this the Passover play, and then the second one's going to be the Rosh Hashanah play. You know, try to keep to the holidays, and we're going to change every line item A to equal ticket sales, so that line item A equals ticket sales. Right? Now, why do we want to do that? Because then when we go back into operations, then line item A equals ticket sales, and so on and so forth, right? Balance sheet, we're also going to put line item A in revenue, ticket sales, and so on. Now, in the worksheet, we're going to go back to the worksheet. We're going to estimate that line item A in month 1 is going to bring 0 because we have to recruit the kids and so on. And month 2 also brings 0 because we're going to have to train them. And in line 3, we're going to be making 500 from ticket sales because people are going to really, really want to come see this play. And then we're going to say, well, during the play, they're also going to be buying drinks, so and food and refreshments. So we're going to call this refreshments. Line item B is refreshments, and we're going to change every line item B to be refreshments. And then let's say that we want to have a lot of refreshments, and so we want to make refreshments a category each time. So we're going to say refreshments equals apple juice, and refreshments equals cookies, and so on, right? And we know that in terms of the sales, again, we're not going to be selling neither in 1 or in 2, but in the end, we're really going to be selling, and people are going to be buying. Who are they going to be buying? So they're going to be buying for 300 apple juice, 300 cookies, and so on, right? So here now we've been starting to estimate the revenue from it, and we're going to be looking for some grants, and the grants we're going to call line item D are going to be restricted grants. So those are grants restricted only for one particular thing. These are going to be Passover from the Moses Foundation. You can get grants restricted to a particular activity, and they're going to be giving us in total $2,000 in order to get this project going, right? So they're giving it all in month 1, right, and so on and so forth. So what we've done in the revenue side of the budget in the worksheet, we've been estimating from our work plan when money's coming in and for what, right? And we've listed what the line item equals because then when we go into operations and we want to make sure that all the different elements here, we're going to say refreshment sales. When we go into operations and we're going to be presenting this, of course, we're going to be erasing this part where it says line item. So we just have ticket sales, operation sales, and you see that what I did was I already added into the worksheet this equation right here. What this equation is doing is it's taking from any place in the worksheet that line item 1 is reflected and adding it in to this one line item, right? So all of ticket sales is reflected on our ticket sales, and the way you do that is very simple. You just go enter into a sheet. I'm erasing it. I'll press the equals sign. I press on into worksheet, and then every place that I see line item A, which is here, right? So I'm going to be taking that one. I'm going to be adding that, and I see another one, ticket sales here, so I'm going to be adding that one in. And this adds up the worksheet, so the worksheets immediately flow into my revenue. Same thing with expenses, right? So expenses here on the operations sheet are all by line item, and of course you can insert categories, so you can say salaries, refreshments, transportation, or so on if you want to. If there are multiple things that are very simple categories, so refreshments, food, drinks, you can write, so on. You can create these line item for expenses. Let's go back into the worksheet, and then we're going to be going down to expenses, right? And so here, same thing. So we have the phase 1. So we're going to say here the first one is our Passover play, and then let's see the first headline. Usually people put salaries. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to put materials, and then for line item 1, all of line item 1 is going to be the same thing, right? So we're going to say it's going to be materials, but this particular line item 1, materials, is going to be paper. This one is going to be materials equals pens. And you can add in as many of these as you want, right? So anything that's under materials, I can say is going to be markers, and so on and so forth, right? And these are all the expenses that are going to occur for the Passover play. And I know that in month 1, I'm going to be using a lot of paper because I'm going to have to recruit people. So I'm going to say 200. And then in month 3, we're going to be drawing stuff for the place. That's going to be 500. And then for month 3, we're going to be telling people to come watch the play, so it's going to be 1,000 because we really want to invest in getting people to come, right? And then pens, we're just going to buy all the pens in the beginning. We're going to do 150, and markers we're going to buy in the beginning. We're going to do 150, and now I have line items for the Passover play. And of course, you know, in the Rosh Hashanah play, I need to do the same type of stuff, right? So line item 1. Which is materials. So I'm going to insert. I'm going to right click and do insert one above. I'm going to put more line item 1. So I'm going to do pens, markers, and so on. And I'm going to also do that because that starts in month 4, right? So I'm going to do another 100 to fill up what was left over, right? Now, so I have here, according to my work plan, I know that the first goal that I have is the Passover play, and here I'm going to be putting all the different items. So line item 2 equals transportation. I need to get the kids over, so I need to rent a bus, or maybe I'll get neighbor people to give their vans. So I'll do 50 to reimburse them for gas each time, and at the end I'll do 150 steps to do rehearsals, right? Line item 3, we're going to need I'm going to need a computer in order to, or you know what, I'm going to need a video camera in order to film these little critters. So I'll have $200 in the beginning, and then 0 and 0, right? So these are my different line items for the first work breakdown structure number, and of course the second I determine that a line item equals something, then I have to carry that through all the way in the end, no matter how many of these work plan elements I'm putting in, and in doing so I can have a uniform operations. So I go to operations, and then here under operations I have here expenses, and so line item 1 is already being calculated. See, let's calculate line item 2. So I press equal. I go into my worksheet, and I look for every time under expenses I have a line item 2 element. So here I'm going down. I have one line item 2 element. I'm going to press on this cell. I'm going to press shift and plus so that it adds it up. I'm going to go down. I'm going to see that line item 2 here is reflected. Not yet. Money and so on. I would keep going down and finding every element that's line item 2. I press enter, and here in operations that automatically is calculated. And if I drag it across by holding that box in the bottom right corner and drag it across all the way to the end, it will automatically add up anytime that line item 2 is there. And in my total column I had, you look up here, I did the sum of this entire row, and so my total column already takes the sum of the entire row. And in doing so I get the total per year for line item 1, line item 2, line item 3, and so on. And then I look at this one, right? I go back to my balance. If I want to know for line item 1 what the total amount per year is, and remember line item 1 for expenses, what did we say it was? Well, let's see. We go to worksheet. We look at line item 1. It is materials. So I go back to balance sheet. I see here line item 1. I press equals. I go over to my operations sheet. I find that line item 1 for the year is this one. Press enter. And now in my balance sheet, I just changed line item 1 equals materials. And now I know, and showing on my balance sheet, that for this coming financial year, for 2011, 12, whatever it is that you're building your budget for, your expenses in materials come out to a total. And it's that simple. That is, if you focus on the work that you're doing with the worksheet, and you estimate out for each one of your program elements what elements you need, you make sure that you keep every line item constant. So you decide ahead of time. Line item 1 is going to be materials. Line item 2 is going to be transportation. Line item 3 is going to be telecom. Line item 4 is going to be salaries, and so on and so forth. Then it just all aggregates together, and all the rest is just a game of cut and paste. Hope this helped. On the introduction sheet, you'll see the email to email if you have any questions. It's right here. And we look forward to seeing your budgets.